Hello and welcome to Wisdom Bites. Hope you're well. Thank you once again for joining us. Very much appreciated. And in today's video, I'm going to be looking at a signal that this chart has been giving over the last 12 years. And it gives absolutely great opportunities and signals to get on board the Bitcoin train. And these signals are really a warning to the bears who still think that the market is going to go much lower than the $15,000 mark. And I'll also finally have a look at the 60-day cycle and to see exactly where we are and where the price action may be heading over the next few days and weeks. So if that sounds interesting, then without further ado, get yourself a cup of tea, sit yourself down, eyes on the screen, and let's get cracking. But before I begin, the usual polite reminder, please remember everything in my videos is just for educational purposes, so please do your due diligence and do your wider research before you make any investment decisions. But before I get into the technical analysis, I want to give you a couple of quotations which are absolutely life-changing. You may remember a few weeks ago I gave you this quotation by Wayne Dyer, that there are no justified resentments. No matter what anybody has done, whatever you feel that somebody has done something to you and that you have a justified resentment, at the end of the day, you have to remember that you really have no justified resentment. So the person who has cheated you, the person who has borrowed money from you and not given it back, the parents who have not brought you up properly, the teachers who have let you down on the way, just remember, no matter what, you have no justified resentments, even though you may think that you do. And the reason for that is that the only thing that having resentments cause is to actually harm you. So if you have emotional intelligence, you will try and get rid of any of those resentments so that the pathway to progress is actually clear for you. Because if you hold these resentments, they're like a weight on your mind that are holding you back. They're pulling on you. When you want to go forward, they're pulling you back. Now, the other side of this quotation is this quotation about forgiveness. And I can tell you that having gone through a process of personal development over the last 30 years, I can tell you that one of the most powerful emotions that you can actually help yourself with is to actually forgive everybody and everything and every situation in the past. You should forgive others, not maybe because they deserve forgiveness, but to me, to be honest with you, I feel as though everybody deserves forgiveness. But even if you don't think that they do, you should forgive others because you deserve peace. So what they do is, just like the quotation on resentment, it actually helps you. Because if you hold resentment, it doesn't affect the person that you hold the resentment against. They're just getting on with their life. The only person it hurts is you, because you're the one holding that burden. Whereas with forgiveness, it's exactly the same. If you don't forgive, then the only person is hurting you is you. So therefore, every person deserves peace. So by forgiving, you're actually giving yourself peace. So please do that. I don't want to go into too much detail because there's a huge body of work that tells you that this is the best thing to do. But I can tell you from past experience and my own experience over the last 30 years, I can tell you for now that I have absolutely no resentment towards all the bad things that have happened to me. Bad things happen to everybody. It's how you respond that allows you to move forward. And so forgiveness is something that clears your pathway to your future, to your success, to your progress, and allows you to achieve the dreams and the visions and the goals and the objectives that you have for your life. So I hope you found that of value. Okay, on with the technical analysis. So what is this chart that actually gives you great opportunities and signals to get on board the Bitcoin train? It's our old friend, the hash ribbons. I want to show you something from a very different angle. A lot of people in the YouTube community show these hash ribbons and they tell you when the signals actually occur and say, right, this is the time to buy. But let me give you the historical context of this in a more detailed way. And that is, if we go back here to 2012, this was the first hash ribbon signal that we got over here. And as you can see, as soon as we got the signal, there was a period when the price came back down here, around about the same time as the signal occurred. And then from then on, it started to move back up, and then we got a second signal over here. So that was your second chance. So this was your first opportunity at the end of a bear market. And when you get out of the bear market, when it's bottomed out and it starts to rise, you get this signal, the first one. And then if you haven't climbed on board there, Bitcoin, being very kind and generous, gives you a second signal over here for those of you who missed it over here. But generally speaking, the people who missed this signal here also missed this signal as well. So those people who are waiting to get on board the Bitcoin train over here, what happens to them at this point is that they think that this was just another counter rally and we're going to go lower than this point here. But unfortunately, it turns around and then gives you a second signal. And these people who get this signal here, they're angry because they missed the first signal over here and they missed the original signal over here at the bottom of the bear market. So what happens is that when we get this second signal, the market starts to rise, and then we get a third signal, and it's usually at this point or even higher that the people who thought that we were still going to go lower get on board. And if you have a look at the actual increase from over here to the third signal, at the top of that signal, you're talking about 1,000% increase. So it's a large percentage increase before the people actually get on board. But what these signals tell you is that you really don't need to wait for a second, third, fourth signal at all. When you see this signal, it's a very strong sign. And as I'm going to show you, it's a very strong sign to just get on board. Yes, you'll get periods where there will be falls because that's the nature of the market. It's up and down. But on the whole, the trend is going to be up, as you can see over here. So just to recap, at the end of a bear market, you get your first signal, and then you get your second signal. Notice one thing, the second signal is not lower than the first signal. It's around about the same or a little bit higher. And then you get the third signal, and that's again higher than the first two signals. And then after these three signals, and sometimes as you'll see, you'll get a fourth signal as well out of Bitcoin's generosity. And then you usually get this blow off top at the top of the end of the first 4-year cycle over here in 2013. And you see this pattern repeating again in the second cycle. But also notice that before the halving here, this pink line, we had two hash ribbon signals to buy into the market. So it was giving you two great opportunities. Obviously in this first cycle, nobody knew that these were great buying signals. But now with the benefit of hindsight, we know that before the halving, getting these signals will prove to be very, very fruitful. So let's go into the second cycle and have a look at what happened after. So we got to the end of the first 4-year cycle at the end of 2013. This was followed by a bear market. And once again, we got our first signal here at the bottom of the bear market where it was bottoming out. This was a bottoming out process going on. So at the bottoming out of that process down here, Bitcoin generously gave us 3 buying opportunities, 3 signals here with the hash ribbons. So if you didn't get on board the first one, you had a chance with the second one, and then you had a chance with the third one. And these 3 were equally about the same price, even though in between you got the highs and the lows and what have you. So that's why you should really ride these and forget about this. Always have a bigger picture view of Bitcoin. When you see these big signs, these big signals on the larger time frames, and this is all on the weekly chart, you know that you should just get on board because nobody knows the future. But what these signals are telling you is that the future looks very rosy because it tends to go up. And before the next halving, we had these 3 signals. So before the first halving, we had 2 signals. And before the second halving, we've had these 3 signals. But once again, most people missed out on the bottoming process here. So if we move on to the next cycle, because what happened here, when we had these 3 signals, if you didn't jump on board here, what you would have really missed would have been this big blow off top at the end of 2017. So once again, these 3 signals were giving you the clues, and none of these signals were lower than the previous signal. So we got to the blow off top here, and this was again followed by a series of signals over here. So once again, the whole cycle repeated itself. Bottom of the bear market, we got our first signal over here, and that should really be a great buy signal for those who got in, but very few did, unfortunately, and I was included in this because I missed the signals down here at the time. And this first signal led to the first mini blow off top that we got at 14,000 in the middle of 2019. But as you can see, before the next halving, we managed to get at the bottom of this mini bear market, we got 1 and 2 more opportunities to get on board with these signals here, as you can see. And once again, most people missed those out as well. But before we had this blow off top here in April 2021, but once again, Bitcoin, being generous as it is, gave us 1, 2 more signals to get on board. And as again, you can see that each of those signals, each of those hash ribbon signals were higher or the equivalent than the previous. So what I'm trying to say here is that once you get this signal, the chance and the opportunity to get lower prices doesn't really exist. So having had these 3 signals over here, after the halving, we got these 2 signals to lead you to the blow off top in April 2021 with a $64,000 Bitcoin price. And then when we had a correction, normally you don't get another signal here, but we got another buy signal by the hash ribbons, and this led to the next blow off top at the actual $69K mark. So as you can see, so far up to now, every signal is higher than the previous signal. However, if we now go to the current market action, what we've now got is our first signal at the bottom of this bear market over here. And once again, it's telling us to do something, and that is to buy. But you may have noticed that this signal for the first time is actually lower than the previous signal. It's not lower than the other ones, and this could just be an anomaly. We don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But certainly, if you look throughout the history, so when we zoom out and have a look, you can see that before the first cycle ended here in 2013, we got 3 buy signals by the hash ribbons. All proved to be greatest buying opportunities before this blow off top. In 2017, we got another 3 more signals, and again, they were the greatest buying opportunities before we had this blow off top. Then before the 69,000 current cycle that we've just been through, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signals here before the 64,000, and then an added one before the 69,000. So we've got 6 signals before the top over here. Once again, they were all great buying opportunities if you took a 2 to 3 year view going forward from them. And now we've got the first signal in this current cycle that we're in now at the end of the bear market we've just been in. And if you'd have got in at the first signals, you would have had a much bigger run to the top. First signal here, a bigger run up to the top. First signal here, a bigger run up to the top. So you're really got a first signal. Yes, you're going to get a few more, but the chances are, looking at the historical context, these other signals are going to be at a higher level than this signal here. So we're currently here at around about the $22,000 mark, and knowing that the hash ribbons have done what it's done over the last 13 years, I have to leave it to everybody else to make up their own minds. At the end of the day, I can't give you financial advice. All I can do is point out certain things and signs and signals that will help you to make up your own mind on these things. So as you can see, these are the signals that have never lied in the history of Bitcoin, and we really do need to pay attention to them. Okay, moving on to the 60-day cycle. Currently where we are is that we've just had this big candle over here last week where we had this Silvergate fallout, and the price came down and broke the support level of this candle here, which was at around about the 22,400. But if you look at this pattern, the way it's developing, it's very similar to what's happened over here. So we had a big increase with this candle, and then we had this sideways and down movement, and then we got a turnaround to the upside. And this is exactly what's happened here. So after this candle that we went up on, then it's done exactly the same over here. We're coming back down, and it's giving us this pattern. And what we've got down here developing is very similar to this pattern over here. So it may well be that we're going to be turning around into this mid-cycle. And this is why these cycles have an important role to play. It gives us a timeline of what possibly can happen. And we expect, if we're in a bull cycle, for the mid-cycle point to act as the Bitcoin price is going to go into it in a bullish way to create a right translated cycle. But certainly we can't really lose this support down here with these candles and this support here. So this support's at around about the 21,400 mark. As you can see, there's not much price action down here. The natural place would be to go back to the 18,300 over here. I'm not expecting that. I am expecting this to hold and for this pattern over here to actually play out on this side just like it did over here. So only time will tell. But this is what the cycles are telling us, that with the mid-cycle point coming along, then we have hope that the market will go back up towards the upside and create a right translated cycle over here. And having had a look at the hash ribbons, it would seem that with the signal that we've had in the last few weeks, that the market is more on the up rather than having any probability to go to the downside. As long as you have a 2 to 3 year view, it really shouldn't matter even if the price does come down below this 21,400 level. So if we have a look at the end of the cycle, which I'm expecting to be around about the middle of April here, the midpoint will be around the middle of March. And so what I would be expecting here would be a right translated cycle over here, maybe hit this 28,800 and then move down into this 60-day cycle and recreate a base around here, which is the top of this. So what you then have is that the old high becomes a support level over here before we move into the next cycle over here. So let's wait and see. Fortunately, Bitcoin doesn't fit nicely into a box, but what the 60-day cycle does is that it tries to make sense of the Bitcoin price by imposing a flexible timeline on it. And it's for us to be able to work around the price to make sense of it by using this 60-day cycle. Okay, before I finish, just want to let you know that on Wednesday, I shall be doing another special feature on another high potential Bitcoin miner. That's for the members only videos that I do on the Wednesday. And I'll also be looking at some potential for swing trades. There are great opportunities on the Bitcoin miners to do swing trades. And considering that all the Bitcoin miners are lagging behind the corresponding Bitcoin prices from August 2022, then there is really a very high potential for very big swing trades on Bitcoin miners. So for those of you who have already joined, thank you very much indeed for joining and looking at this great opportunity that we have with the Bitcoin miners. And if you haven't joined and you want to get an insight into this huge potential for the Bitcoin miners, all you have to do is to click on the join button below all of my videos. This is the join button below all of my videos. And if you have a look in the description box below, you'll see the membership join link here. For those of you with a handheld device, you can use this link over here simply because on the handheld devices you might not see a join button. And you'll find my videos on my channel. So if you click on my channel, you'll see the membership tab here. When you click on that, you'll find all my videos on there. So far we've done 2 videos in the members only sections. So you'll have access to those 2 as well. And I'll be doing one on Wednesday, as I said. So every Wednesday we do 1 video per week to cover the Bitcoin miners and the potential that there is with them. Please remember, these opportunities don't come around very often. So when they do, you really need to grab them. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I hope you found value in the video. If you did, then please do remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the notification bell. And if you have any comments, questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.